Rockland native. I was born and raised in Spring Valley, New York. But Nyack, I feel like, has always kind of been like my home at heart. It's like where my social life here was mainly for a long time. And I finally got a chance to move here almost 5 years ago, and I love it. And I like want to die here and be like buried here. If that's not too morbid on a Thursday morning, but I just love it here. So I'm a marketing and sales professional. I'm a writer, I'm a musician, and I'm a community builder. And I came across Rivertown through the Facebook group that I run, Hudson Valley United Freelancers and Entrepreneurs. So we kind of collided there. I was actually looking for writing work and ended up on the business development side, but I'm also doing writing there too. And I love it. It was just really great timing. Like you mentioned, Rivertown was away because of the pandemic, and we got new owners last year, and we just relaunched this week on Monday, actually. So this is and these are
Yay!
my
So
clients.
exciting.
Yay! Carpentry shop. You should talk to these people. They're amazing. That's Natalie,
Yes.
her husband, Julian. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Awesome. I love it. You're like into a little bit of everything. Like you got a
Yeah.
little writing, a little music, a little
Yeah.
sales.
Yeah.
I like that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, since we're here to talk about Rivertown Magazine, I know I always remember seeing it even from like being a little kid, right? Like it's at the corner of like the coffee shop or something like that.
Hmm.
Tell us a little bit about like how the Rivertown Magazine came about. I know that they were on a little bit of a break during the pandemic, but even before that.
Hmm. Yeah. So it started back in 1999, I believe, by Phil Bunton, who was a local, and um, I wish I could do a better job of the origin story other than to say that he was a local who really loved the area and wanted to highlight it, and the people in it, much like what you and your mother do with this podcast. Um, Except we didn't have podcasts back then. So he started this magazine and got a team of writers and salespeople together, photographers, um, and started serving Rockland County. And over the years, it spread out to Bergen County a little bit too, because we're right at the border there. And he ran it for 20 years up until I think 2019. Um, an actual father-son real estate duo, the Blankfords, Gary and Adam Blankford, who are also
Yeah.
Rockland locals, they took over Rivertown. And obviously, they didn't have it very long before the pandemic shut it down. So March 2020 was like the last full issue. And then they put out a kind of smaller holiday themed issue in December of 2020, but then that was it. So
Got it.
now we have Alan the Gun and Bruce Apar. They run River Journal and River Journal North over in Westchester County, which is also like a lifestyle publication, except it's more like newspaper feel. It's a little bit more community centric. Um, Whereas like the Rivertown magazine, from seeing it, is like very glossy and pretty, and
Mhm.
has some really great like editorial pieces in there. So yeah, that's the history of Rivertown, and it was really cool because I noticed it too. But when I started talking to people about it, that hey, Rivertown's coming back, people were so excited. So it's really cool to have joined something that already has a really well established name,
Absolutely.
that people trust and have good
Yeah, and
feelings about.
people know.
Hmm.
Definitely.
Right.
So, what can we find, like I know the Rivertown magazine, but for somebody listening that's never seen it, what can we find in there? I know like the cool thing is it's free.
Hmm. Yeah, right. Which many things aren't anymore. So keeping it old school that way, which is really cool. Yeah, you can find a lot of your neighbors in there, and beautiful ads by them, and discovering new places in nooks and crannies that you may not be familiar with. I know that you and I were chatting right before we went live, and you were saying that, and it's true, like in Rockland, it's very easy to kind of get stuck in your own bubble of whatever town you're in, and your spot, and you know your coffee shop that you always go to, and the grocery store that you always go to, and it's easy not to look left or right, and bypass all these places that are under your nose all the time, let alone all the other towns that are outside of your town. So Rivertown's a really good way for you to learn about the county at large, so the different businesses that are in there, and also the different cool things that are going on. So we have editorials that are, by our advertisers or highlighting our advertisers in a different way beyond an ad. But then we also have editorial content that's just, we like to cover different community centric goings on, you know, things going on with kids programs, or actually had a writer and my friend, another fellow musician, Tom Clancy, he wrote about a food pantry that exists in Rockland.
Hmm.
I didn't realize it was
So you don't
something
even
that
know that's there, right?
I didn't even know. Yeah, I was on Instagram like sometime last year and I saw like some other town upstate had a food pantry. I was like, this is a really cool idea. And then come to find out that we actually do have these already in Rockland. So it's a really good way to like learn about what's going on at home.
Yeah. And yeah, just like I was saying to you, it's like Rockland's so small, and then you can, in itself, it's small, right, compared to the state and stuff like that. And then you get stuck in your little towns, right? You're in Orangetown, you're in Clarkstown, you're in Ramapo, and
Mm-hmm.
you really do, like, your blinders go on and you forget about all the restaurants that are outside of your little area, or the libraries that you can go to. And
Right.
so I love that it kind of, whenever I see it, like, there's like, oh, that restaurant, I forgot I wanted to try that one. And I love
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah.
So where can we find the magazines? Is it like just in local shops, or where do you put them out?
Yeah. So we distribute them throughout Rockland and Bergen County at really any store that'll take them, to be honest with you, So we just started distributing them this week. I spent a lot of time in Bergen County just starting off there, for example, because my clients who are on the cover of this issue, they're based like right near Bergen. They're in Japan, but the New York side.
Mhm.
So I was like, oh, let me just hang out there. Um, so different restaurants, coffee shops, doctors' offices, business offices where there's like a little waiting area, really any public space, we try to have a presence there. So, like I mentioned, my publisher and I were going to be going up and down the streets of Nyack. We're going to be going up and down Main Street and Broadway and probably Franklin as well, and just going door to door and letting people know that we're back and leaving some
I love
copies
it.
with them. Yeah.
How many copies do you even know? How many copies do you guys like? Did you print for this last publication? Do you know?
Yeah. So for this one, we started off with 12,000. So
Whoa! I
yeah,
love it.
so yeah, we're gonna be making sure, like I said, we're in every nook and cranny of Rockland and parts of Bergen as well.
So if somebody, like, let's just say I was a business owner and I wanted to have some of the copies, in my, store, or whether it's a waiting area, could I just reach out? Like, should I reach out to you? Who should you reach out to get some copies?
Yeah, absolutely. People can reach out to me at Joanne at rivertownsmedia.com. So Joanne. And I could definitely, if I can't personally drop them off, then we can get a driver or um, another one of my colleagues. But we're always happy to hear from people who are interested in having us around.
That's cool. I love it. And the other thing I was thinking is, like, what if I wanted to be featured in it? Is that the same thing? Like, is this donation based? How does that work?
Yeah, good question. So, like I mentioned before, there are two types, or really there are three types of ways to be featured in the magazine. So you can either buy straight ad space. So we go from quarter page to full page, just regular ad. We make it beautiful, of course, but that's just like straight ad. Um, you can have ad partner content, which is like we call it an advertorial. So it's an ad, but formatted like an editorial. So that's a really cool way that we can highlight the interesting stories that businesses
Hmm.
have. If you have a differentiating factor about your ice cream shop or your nail salon or whatever business or service that you offer, we always love to go a little deeper into that. Or we also, on the free end, we do have editorial content about different interesting like think pieces or highlighting different unique programs or like
Hmm.
one-off events or things like
Events
that
and
are
stuff.
going on.
Yeah,
Yeah, but we generally, obviously, we need to make money, right? So
of
we
course.
lean
Yeah.
towards the ads and the advertorial, and then we keep the free content again, generally more towards maybe non-for-profits,
Mhm.
things that organizations that have a little bit more of a civic centrality to it, or if
Mhm.
there's like a really cool like one-off event that's coming up that really highlights the diversity and fun
Right.
things that go
Like
on in
should be
Rockland.
featured.
Exactly.
Got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm hyped to I'm gonna go out and get a copy today. I'm gonna go somewhere and find it. I know you'll
Yeah.
be in Nyack, so
Yes.
that's super
Absolutely.
cool.
Yeah.
But while I have you on, I know you like briefly mentioned that you started the Facebook group of Hudson Valley United freelancers and entrepreneurs. Can you talk a little bit about that? Maybe we have some listeners that would love to join your group. And what was your idea of how did you get this going?
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for asking. So I started the group in bed 2 years ago because I was working a full-time job and I had my eyes set on going into work for myself. And I didn't know exactly what that was going to look like. So I know that I'm, a skilled writer. So I was like, let me start there. That's kind of the easiest place for me to start. And I got linked up with a like regionally based lifestyle and leisure, like a travel and leisure publication,
Hmm.
doing some stories. And the owner didn't want to pay me for like the last few stories I submitted. And I'd never run into this issue before because I never really did freelance work like that before. So my instinct as a millennial, I guess, was to go to social media and ask for help. So I was part of a couple of like community groups on Facebook, so I reached out to them and I got a little bit of I got some good feedback. But what I did find in my search was that there wasn't like a cohesive community, like resource center for Hudson Valley based independent contractors and small business owners. So I made it while I was in bed, and I remember thinking that I was like, if I can get 50 people in here who are like really engaged and really helping each other out and supporting each other, like I'd be happy. So I started it because I needed it, and I guess just because of timing and all of that, it was just something that was really needed. So 2 years later, we have over 2,300 people in there and growing, and I really love what it's become because people do have an opportunity to self promote, but that's very controlled. So that's not all that's happening.
Right.
And so mainly what's happening in the feed is people looking to hire freelancers, people looking for work, um, people sharing like different important resources. So like different workshops, podcasts, networking. So like I try to encourage the things that I think are really important for like entrepreneurs. So like networking is very important, I
Hmm.
believe. Learning, like continuing education in your field whenever you can. Um, and then also spotlighting other businesses and shouting out other businesses, and then having people have an opportunity to share their own socials and things like that. So I really like, I like to see that there are real connections being made and like new projects are happening because people are getting together in there. And I wish I'd learned like right at the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey, but like you need partnerships and collaborations like immediately.
Yes.
I don't care how new your idea is. I don't care how unformed. You get a partner, get a team, get
Yes.
people around you
Get
immediately.
people around you. We can't do it alone. I think if we learned anything during COVID is that, right? You can't do
Yeah.
things alone. We need our community. We
Yeah.
need each other. We need to just be nice to each other. And I love that you created that group. And similar what I'm doing here is like we have so many wonderful things surrounding us that we just need to spotlight it, get together,
Mhm.
and let it work, let the magic work. And I'm definitely, once we hop off this call, I'm going to hop right into that group because I don't know how I missed it, but it's
Please
perfect for
do.
me
Please
as an
do.
entrepreneur as well.
Yeah.
So
Thank
thanks so
you.
much for sharing about that. And the
Mhm.
last thing before we wrap it up is when you were writing to me, I'm going to quote you. You said, "I believe in the power of community and I'm passionate about conscious consumerism and supporting local economies." Can you talk more about like what is conscious consumerism and what's your mission? What do you want to get out there, Joanne?
Yeah, oh, thank you. Yeah, so I think central to my mission is just shifting the paradigm of what success means in this country, and the way that we go about buying things and consuming things. And so consuming isn't just products that we buy, but it's also media that we watch. It's anything that we take in, because, I believe we're vessels. So whatever we put into ourselves will come out, and, everything's connected. And during COVID, I just, realized how much waste there is and how much kind of like automated doing there is. So, not to knock Amazon per se, because I had a Prime membership up until like a year and a half ago, and it is very convenient. However, the problem isn't necessarily Amazon and the service it provides, but the reason why it's become a problem is the automation of it. It's the automatic, like I'm just gonna, and it's the convenience of things. Like
Yeah,
we're in a
it's like
convenience
click.
culture. Yeah, it's like impulse. You're right, impulse purchases. Like impulse purchases used to be confined to like the rack at the register at the grocery store, and maybe you
Right.
spend an extra $5 on some candy and a magazine, right? But now impulse purchases, I mean, it's on your phone. You can
It's
buy
like 2
anything.
seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, um, I've delivered for Grubhub, and working in an all sales position, it's like I still do that from time to time, right?
Right.
As I'm building the business. And I remember when I first started driving for Grubhub, I had an order for one shake, like a blurry from Dairy Queen, that I drove 40 minutes round trip at 9 o'clock at night, and it wasn't even summer. And I'm like, this is definitely a person who's just in bed and they're
Wants
on their
ice cream.
phone and they're like,
Yeah.
I'd like an Oreo flurry right now. Let me order it and spend like 30% surcharge just to have it. It's like insane, so so it's like, and that's killing small businesses, because small businesses can't compete with Amazon and Target and like all of
Right.
these big boxes. So if we can start to kind of shift a little bit and be a little bit more thoughtful about what we're purchasing, then we'll purchase less, but we'll purchase from people, our neighbors and people we
Right.
know, and there's so much more value. And then also it's just like having that dollar circulate within your own community, keeping money within a community for as long as possible before it goes out to different, even just counties or
Right.
states, or countries, is going to help America in the long run. Because I think just at the moment we're a little short-sighted. We're outsourcing everything because it's cheaper, but that's going to hurt us
In the
in the
long
long run.
run.
Yeah.
I love it. I love, love, love your mission there. I mean, I'm right on with you. I
Thank you.
really appreciate you coming on today. I'm definitely going to share your information if anybody wants to reach out to you, and we'll definitely also share in the Rivertown Magazine. You guys have a Facebook group, I'm guessing, right? Or some sort of social media I could.
So you can go to at Rivertown Magazine on
Okay.
Instagram. Um, like I mentioned, we need a social media manager. So if
Yes, you
anybody's
did. So you can
interested,
say that here. If anybody's looking for some social media management work, Rivertown Magazine is looking. So
yeah,
definitely
join.
can reach
We're a
out to
fun team.
Joanne. And so
Yeah.
I'll put all that information, and also want to share your Facebook group. That's super cool.
Thank you. I'd appreciate that.
Thanks so much for your time today. I really, really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Kelly. Thank you for
Bye,
what you're
Joanne. Have a
doing.
great day.